supplies that you'll need are yarn, scissors, yarn needles, and cord. To start, you're going to cut the end of your cord on a diagonal. And I'm using a thinner cord, so it's not as important. But if you're using a thicker cord, you will definitely need to do this step. Then you'll take your yarn and thread your yarn needle. And pull out a good amount, but not crazy long, because you don't want to create knots. And cut off a piece of yarn. To start, you're going to take the long end of your yarn, you're going to hold it in the opposite direction of your center cord. And you're going to begin wrapping below where you cut that diagonal into, wrapping over the tail of the yarn. And then you're going to fold that diagonal bend over to create a circle. And this is where you need the yarn needle, because you want to catch and go through the center. So you're going to thread your yarn through the center, catching that end that you've got on a diagonal. And the further in you go, the easier it's going to be. Making sure you wrap all of the ends. My cord that I'm using frays really easily, so there's a lot of little itty bitty ends. Depending on what you use, it'll be easier or harder. If you use like a plastic or a nylon cord, you can melt the end, so it doesn't do this at all. I'm using cotton, so I just have to be careful about how I do this. Now that the tail is fully captured, we're going to start building the base of our basket. So we're going to wrap the cord 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you want to do either between 5 and 7 times. I want to do 5. And then we're going to go holding the second along. And you want to keep the same pattern because it's going to be part of the design of your basket. Holding this part that we just wrapped along the cord below it. Go through the center. And then pick up again. And go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and wrap through the center. And you're going to keep moving along the outside edge. So we're going to do this another 5 times wraps. Once you've gone all the way around your initial ring, you're going to continue the pattern of wrapping 5 times. But instead of going all the way into the center, you're going to go into the row before it. So you're just going to slide in there. And you're looking to make a flat disc right now because you're creating the base. And you're just going to repeat this going into the next row out every time you go around until your base is as big as you're looking to make it. And then you would start shaping the walls. I'm not ready to build up the walls just yet, but I am almost out of the piece of yarn I have cut. So I'm going to take my yarn needle off, and I'm going to show you how to transfer to a new piece of yarn. So once again, you're going to thread the needle and cut a decent length of yarn. Again, you don't want it crazy long, otherwise you're just going to create problems and knots for yourself. And we're going to hold the old yarn. I'm going to give it one more wrap, since I did just sew through the row before it, along the cord, along with your new tail. And you're going to wrap all 3 together, so that way you catch the tails. It's going to be a little bit bulkier in this spot, but that is totally fine and expected. And we're going to sew through. And I'm going to do that for about 1 or 2 sections. And then you're just going to trim the long tails that you have and keep working. And you'll do that every time that you need to change yarn. You can also do that anytime you want to change colors. I'm working with a variegated yarn, so it's going to change colors on its own, so I don't really feel like I need to add any more going on with it. Now that we've made our base, we're going to begin building up our walls. To do that, rather than going next to the row before it, we're going to go slightly on top of it. So that way you start getting some height, and you want to try and keep it slightly out, otherwise you're making your walls straight up and down, which if you want an up and down basket, that's totally fine. But I'm going for more of a shallow opener basket. So we're going to keep it a little bit staggered so it's not directly on top of the one before it. And you're going to just keep trying to keep the same tension as you go around. That way your walls have an even angle. It's going to take some time to get it perfect, so don't worry. This is your first basket. So as you go along, the further into the basket you are, the better it's going to look. To finish your coil basket, once you only have a little bit left and you've reached the desired height, rather than wrapping around just the center coil, you're going to wrap through the below part. So I've done it once and twice already. You can either taper this end and cut it on a diagonal. My cord frays a lot, so we're going to leave it as is. It is going to create a bump. If you taper it, the bump will be much less noticeable and it'll be a flatter rim to your basket. So that is up to your choice. And you're going to continue all the way through. And you want your end completely covered. And then one after to make sure that it is fully secure and just in case it slides apart. And I am playing yarn chicken, so I've only got a little bit left. Hopefully you would have more than I do. To finish off this tail, you're going to slide your needle through the stitches that you've just created and pull the tail through. And that will lock it into place. You're going to trim that little end. And now you have a coil basket that you can use. And just shape the sides a little bit gently with your hands, and you are all set.
Support public libraries. Like, share, and subscribe for more great videos.